I will tell you just for a while about our history, about our buildings.
Our Excellencies, Russian delegations, especially Mr. Konstantin Suvanov. I feel honored to be with you here today, and thank you for your warm welcome and also your hospitality. Let me share our experience, how we manage pluralism and promote tolerance and religious harmony in our country. The key factor of this harmony in the plural society like Indonesia, according to me, is the spirit of tolerance. According to my opinion, it arises from our existential experience. In many areas, for instance, in Indonesia, you can find many families consist of different religions in one family. The wife is Muslim and the husband is Christian, or vice versa. It's happened in many areas of Indonesia. You can find also people build together the mosque and the church. Even in some area, there is a church and mosque. The build is a neighborhood. Even in some places, just separate by the same wall, the church and the building. Once in Jakarta and many others in Indonesia. The congregation, both Muslim and Christian, work together to build the mosque as well as the church. So we can say the interreligious or interfaith tension is not so high because we inherited the adage from our founding fathers who said, if you want to be a Muslim, you don't have to be Arab. If you want to be a Christian, you don't have to be a Jews. If you want to be a Hinduism, you don't have to be India. So be Indonesian good Muslim, be Indonesian good Christian, and be a good Indonesian Christian. For decades, we developed religious life called moderation. So our founding fathers decided not to proclaim Indonesia as a Muslim country. We declare our country as a nation state. Indonesia is also the country with the biggest population of Muslim in the world. The Muslim which is growing in Indonesia, however, is a little bit different with Muslim in another country, like let's say Afghanistan, Pakistan, or even Middle East. Because the Muslim in Indonesia are very friendly to the local wisdom and the local culture. The religion in Indonesia, Muslim as well as Christian, Hinduism, and Buddhism, accommodate the local wisdom, the local culture, become our religious identity too. The Muslim of Nusantara, the Indonesian Christian, we live together in harmony with this principle. Unfortunately, frankly to say, in the last 2 decades, the harmonious life and mutual respect were disturbed by the increase of sectarianism spirit and the use of religious symbols in the arrangement of the common life. Recently, there is a shift in our society from moderate approaches to be a fundamentalistic one, which come from radicalistic understanding from outside of Indonesia. It produced some tension and conflict in our society. The fundamentalistic and radicalistic approach comes from outside of Indonesia as a part of the global phenomenon, according to me. It happened in all over the world, I think. With the instrumentalization of religions by some interest group, political interest or business interest. With the problem of poverty and unemployment in Indonesia, it is easy to provoke people toward this radicalism one. Meanwhile, the position of Muslim in Indonesia, statistically speaking, as I said, the largest Muslim population in the world, according to me, it's a very strategic in influencing the civilization of the world in the future. In my opinion, world civilization in the future will be very much influenced by the Muslim civilization. I said this because 2 reasons. First, the increasing of the Muslim population in all over the world. We can see it's very significant. And the second reason, because of the many tension in Middle East, there is a phenomenon that Muslim people spread out living Middle East, move to Europe, American, or Australia. Both of these phenomenon will place Muslim, according to me, in the strategic position in influencing the next future of world civilization. The question is, which kind of Muslim will affect the civilization of the world? I see from the discussion with Metropolitan Hilaron, Indonesian Muslim as well as Russian Muslim tends to be moderate Muslim. So both Indonesia and Russia, according to me, can contribute greatly to the civilization to the world by introducing the Indonesian Muslim or the Russian Muslim as a moderate Muslim. Islam of Indonesia compatible with democratization and also suitable for human right approach. Therefore, we struggle to nurture and to maintain the model of Indonesian Muslim. How we do that? First of all, we develop multicultural education. Civil society movement in Indonesia develop multicultural education with several approaches, such as the first, inviting people to put forward the mandate of the Constitution in public sphere rather than the verse of the Scripture. Directives of the Scriptures first should have carried out the objectification process in an universal values. Secondly, teaching the people to read the Scriptures verses contextually and avoid the textual approach. And the third, motivating the people to understand that religion basically teach the believer how to behave others and not how others behave the believers. In this sense, all religions propose peace and love. Besides the multicultural education, we also continuation of interfaith dialogue. Interfaith dialogue become one in the pluralistic society like Indonesia. That is why we always promote interfaith dialogue. The most important things in the dialogue is that the dialogue is not only at the top level, leadership level, but must arrive at the grassroots level and must maintain, not stay in only in discourse, but truly implemented in the daily life. The third is how we develop interfaith cooperation as a living dialogue. In some areas, we will develop humanitarian work that is motivated by the call of faith and involves people from various faiths and various religions. At the national level, for instance, we have some joint institutions formed by representatives of religious institutions such as Humanitarian Forum of Indonesia. At the grassroots level, things like that has more and more real in the daily life. We also have Religious Harmony Forum at the province level and the district level, like you have here the Council of Religions in Russia. The last thing is the strategic and the special role of the leaders, as you said already, Alexander Trentiv said, the role and the strategic role of the leaders of trade, the leaders of the people, as well as the leaders of the religious. In various interreligious tension and conflict, it can reduce if the leaders of religion can sit together and solve other people, and then the tensions will reduce automatically. The last things I want to share is, even though I mentioned that authentic harmony in Indonesia was born from our existential experience, there are also many problems in us in Indonesia. We have many challenges in Indonesia, such as the right of Indonesia as archipelagos. We have many islands, more than 17,000 islands.
17.
Also, huge population. It's a little bit difficult how to deal with this situation. The other problem is the low education of the people of Indonesia. And the third is the influence of the transnational Muslim and the other fundamentalistic religions. And the last one is the tendency of the instrumentalization of some interest group of politics and business. This is the problem of us nowadays. And thank you very much.
Sambutan yang luar biasa yang diberikan oleh Mufti kepada kami bersama delegasi.
Глубочайшее вам спасибо за то, как вы приняли.
Kalau yang 5 dari Kemenag ya? Iya. Sudah selesai. Sekarang mau pulang dengan untuk
Jangan dong. Ke Gorky Park dulu.
cari tas di Gorky Park.
Follow the Moskwa.
Ini oleh Pendeta Gultom yang sepanjang rapat. Sekarang selesai rapat, beliau sudah segera kembali.
Dari mana Ibu? Ibu dari mana?
Dari tadi.
Aduh.
Itu namanya efisien. Biasanya kita
Ya, cukup melelahkan. Seharian duduk dan mendengarkan, diskusi kurang. Tapi diplomasi publik seperti ini bagus buat masa depan hubungan kedua negara. Banyak persamaan Indonesia-Rusia dalam kerangka membangun hidup beragama yang toleran dan mediasi. Selamat sore Pak Dubes.
Selamat sore Pak. Ini suasana awal musim gugur. Jadi udara udah mulai sejuk.
Bentar, mobilnya lewatnya. Oke.
Ini adalah gereja Sindasil yang sekarang berfungsi sebagai museum. Di sisi sebelahnya adalah Kremlin yang terkenal. Kremlin ini adalah pusat pemerintahan Rusia. Yang ini Mei, diplomat muda kita.
Terima kasih, halo dari Rusia, salam.
Jadi Bapak Pendeta, ini gereja didesain oleh arsitek dari Itali atas perintah raja ya. Dan kemudian setelah selesai matanya ditusuk Pak. Supaya tidak bisa membuat lagi bangunan seindah ini Pak. Demikian ceritanya.